Hello, everyone, and welcome to Six Figure Souls, Doing Good and Making Money. I am your host, Camille Miller. I am a business and mindset mentor for people that are in alternative businesses. And what I mean by alternative businesses is something that makes your heart sing. So I usually work with very logical-minded people that have left the corporate world or whatever their practice has been, and they've created a business that they love and brings them joy. And this Hope Weekly podcast is about celebrating those people. This year, we're doing a very special season 8, and we are highlighting the members of the Natural Life Business Partnership, now called the Soul Professional Society, and how they've created businesses around their passion. And this season will help you get to know a little bit more about all of our members. Today, we have a very special guest with us. Karen Sammer has been a longtime member. She's a national board certified health and wellness coach. We're going to talk to her a little bit today. Hi, Karen. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Camille. How are you doing?
Very well, thank you. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.
You are welcome. So I kind of love your story because you're a great story for the podcast in general, right? People that have changed their lives to follow a passion. And you do just great work in the world. So I want people to hear more about you. So let's start off first with what is a national board certified health and wellness coach? Because there's a difference between those that are certified and those that aren't, and maybe how you look at things. So I'd like to put that out there first, if we could.
Absolutely. So a national board certified health and wellness coach is someone who had to sit for a pretty difficult test and pass it, but you had to take courses in order to get there. Okay. So it's really more about the approach that you take to coaching. It's transformational, it's motivational. There are a number of different, I want to say modalities that you would employ to, not modalities is probably not the right word, but different methods that you would employ to ensure your client success. And you need to know all of that stuff to become board certified. So it's a pretty big deal. It's a pretty big deal to me. Let's put it that way.
Well, no, there's not a lot of them. And that's why I think it's really important to bring out that there are board certified health and wellness coaches, which have a different type of training than other maybe health and wellness coaches that aren't board certified.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm curious though, with your training, is there a very specific way that you are helping people transform in health and wellness? Like, is it based in nutrition? Is it based on their whole life?
Yeah, it's more of a holistic approach. Now, there is a nutritional component to it, but it is based on a holistic approach because it's often not about the food. It's about the stuff in their lives. It's their relationships. It's their relationship to food. It's their career. It's their family life. It's all of the things that make up a human life.
Yeah.
And a lot of it is mindset. Much of what I do is mindset work because people, by the time they come to me, they think they've tried everything, and they're very discouraged, and they're feeling hopeless, and they're feeling like they can never do what they need to do in order to get healthy. And I help them with that. First of all, you got to get in your mind that you are capable of doing way more than you're giving yourself credit for.
Yeah.
And you know that better than anybody, right, Camille? That's your game, is that you talk about that all the time. Not your game. That is your approach.
Right.
I didn't mean it.
That's okay.
But that's, so it's really about knowing that you can do it. And, so I help people I instill, when they don't have the confidence themselves, I try to instill that confidence in them. And I try to empower them until they can empower themselves to do the work that they need to do to get where they need to go.
I love that. And you have a little bit of a story yourself that brought you here.
Oh, I've got a big story.
I know. And that's I really want to share your story as well, if you're comfortable with that, because your background was not always health and wellness.
It was not.
Okay, you want to tell big pharma. Can we share a little bit about your background and story and how it brought you to be a health and wellness coach? Because I think when people can connect to your story, that's how they know that you're a great coach for them.
Absolutely. I'm happy to say I'm an open book. I can tell you about almost,
You are
almost
now.
anything.
Yeah.
Yeah, I am. Yes, I am. So I started out, and my career was I'm a CPA by by training and by whatever. So I worked in corporate tax for probably about 33 years,
Wow.
and in 2009, I went for my annual mammogram, and guess what I found out? I had breast cancer. And it was not just breast cancer, it was an aggressive form of breast cancer.
Wow.
And at the time, I had a very stressful job. I was extraordinarily overweight. I was drinking too much. I was eating too much. I was eating very late because I'd get home very late from work and I'd eat a big dinner because I was starving. And then I'd go to bed and I'd wash everything down with a couple of glasses of wine. And so this was a cycle that I, was perpetuating. So it was no surprise to me that I developed some kind of a life-threatening illness because, when you're not listening to the little nudges,
Yeah.
you get the big brick to the side of your head, right? So
that.
that was my brick. That was my brick. So I took 6 months off from work, but I decided at that point, because I went through some pretty crappy treatment. I had to go through chemo. I had a lumpectomy, so I didn't have to have mastectomy, thank goodness.
Okay.
I had lumpectomy. I had chemo where I lost all my hair. My fingernails, toenails were all compromised. Everything. And it's the gift that keeps on giving. There are certain things about me that are just continuing on because of the chemo. Like I have no eyebrows, for instance. These are fake. These are painted on. So I went through the chemo and radiation, and I didn't want to ever do that again. And I also, I had 2 teenage girls that I was raising. So I did not want to, I didn't want them to lose me. I lost my mother when I was 16. I didn't want that to be my girl's story.
Okay.
So, yeah. So it was, I was pretty motivated to make sure that I stayed healthy as long as I could. So I went through the normal treatment and decided that I wanted to do something to change my life. So I started to do some research about how do I mitigate my risk for recurrence, because it was a pretty high level of recurrence for this type of cancer. And so I did some research and I found out that sugar encourages cancer to grow in your body like ridiculously. It's like, I don't know, fertilizer for cancer cells. Okay. So I decided to eliminate sugar from my diet. And not only did I, mitigate my risk, but I ended up getting my energy back, which was really in the pits, after all that treatment. I got my energy back. I lost all my aches and pains, and the weight just started to drop off just by eliminating sugar from my diet.
Wow. And I assume it's all sugar.
Yeah, well, processed sugar. So I could eat fruit. I ate fruit, mostly veggies, but I ate, some fruit.
Yep.
But I was, I started to make choices that were intuitively beneficial to me. I could understand what my body needed because I got rid of all the noise, all of that chemical noise from my body. Beautiful. Right. So I was able to identify the foods that I needed at whatever time I needed them. So I was eating to nourish myself rather than to soothe myself or whatever reason I was using.
Yep. Yep.
And so, so I was able to take complete control of what I ate. Like I said, the weight came off almost effortlessly. I lost 135 pounds and I felt better than I had. So I was diagnosed at the age of 52. I felt better than I did when I was in my 30s, even in my 20s. Yeah, I felt so much. It was just amazing how much energy I had, how well I felt. I'd get up in the morning. There was nothing that was creaky and achy and all that stuff. It was amazing. It was wonderful. And so that, that has been my mantra, is that, you can do hard things, as Glennon Doyle says, right? You can do hard things. We all can do that. And, it's a very difficult thing to give up something that you're addicted to.
Yeah.
And most people who have the cravings for sugar or sugary sweets or snacks are addicted to the sugar. And so just like any drug addiction, only it's harder. I think it's harder because you don't need heroin to live, but you need food to live.
Yeah.
So identifying the foods that are best for you, that don't contain the ingredients that are going to kill us. It's difficult. Most people know what they need to do generally. There's a lot of crazy noise out there about different things that, different fad things that you could do. But it boils down to eating food, not garbage, right? Eating food, not garbage, moving your
Real
body a little
food.
bit. Yeah,
Yep.
real food. But the overcoming what has control over you is the most difficult part. So that's what I help people with. I help them to overcome those cravings and just completely eliminate them, because it's really, I mean, you can ignore them for only so long, but they're going to come raging back. You have to eliminate them.
Yeah.
And that's what I do. So, but then to continue on with my sad tale of woe, in 2017, I had a heart attack. I had a spontaneous coronary artery dissection that resulted in a heart attack. So one of the arteries in my heart, fortunately, it was a small part of a small artery, so no lasting damage, dissected. It split. And fortunately, I was in a meeting at the hospital. I was at a Toastmasters meeting at the hospital when it happened. Yeah, I was very lucky to be in the right place at the wrong time. And so they took me over to the ER, hooked me up to the EKG machine, full-on heart attack going on right there. And they took me to the cath lab. The interventional cardiologist took me to the cath lab. He was going to set a stent. He thought it was a blockage. I was of the age, he thought it was a blockage, and that he would have to stent the artery to open it up again. Well, my arteries are clear because I'd been eating well for a long time.
Yep.
And so my arteries were fine, but he saw this SCAD. And so fortunately, he realized what it was, because not every doctor does. It's a rare condition. And he pulled the catheter out before he could do any further damage, because it was already split. If he had tried to set a stent, he could very possibly have torn that further, and I could have bled out. So It didn't happen. All is well in my world. He pulled that thing out before he did anything damaging to me, and I recovered from it. And here I am to talk another day.
Wow.
Yeah. But that focused me.
Yeah. So did the heart attack have anything to do with your weight or health at that moment, or was it just something that happened?
So it's spontaneous, right? So it typically happens, sometimes it happens to much younger women. It often, it happens postpartum or post-emotional trauma.
Okay.
So it can be something like that. It could have a hormone. There's very, very little known about spontaneous coronary artery dissection.
Okay.
But it happens mostly to women.
Okay.
Not always, but mostly to women. My personal view is that the chemo compromised my cardiovascular system, because it does have one of the drugs that I was on because of sense. That's what I think.
Yeah.
Nobody could tell me that, obviously. But one of the drugs I was on causes your heart to enlarge. So it would make sense to me, because they had to monitor. They were doing echocardiograms on me all through my treatment.
Yeah.
That it would make sense to me that if it enlarges your heart, what other damage might it do, right?
Absolutely.
So I think that there may have been some connection there.
Gotcha.
But I'm here, and I have a very good cardiologist who I love, and she's very conservative with medication, so she's got me only on one medication, which is great. And one of these days I'm gonna convince her to take me off of it. Haven't been able to yet, but we'll see.
Awesome. So at what point did you decide you are going into health and wellness? You are going to help women, predominantly women you work with, correct?
That's right. Yeah.
To prevent this in their lives. Like you said, I am not going to be a CPA any longer. I am so done with tax. I am going to help, because most people's great stories and what they do and their passion in life comes out of their own journey.
Yeah.
Right. I think it makes people more passionate. So at what point did you take that journey yourself?
So when I was doing my research, I forgot to add that to my saga. When I was doing my research after the cancer, and I found that sugar, is the root of all evil, it really led me to want to learn more. And so I decided to take some courses about it. just
Yep.
health in general,
General.
health coaching. And I decided I wanted to do that to help other people because of the amazing transformation in my life. I wanted everybody to know about it. I felt so good. I can't even describe to you how well and healthy I felt after I did that. So I wanted to help other people have the same experience. And so I went to IIN, Institute of Integrative Nutrition.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, initially. And then I became a holistic health coach. And then I became a certified nutritional consultant after that, just to get more information about the food and then the food's interaction in the, what it does in the body. And so I became certified in that. And then I just continued my education. And during that time, I said, I do want to help other people do this. So I was still working in tax. I still worked in tax for about 5 more years. I was working in corporate. And then I was offered an opportunity to retire. And so, God bless you. I was offered an opportunity to retire with a package. So I said, take me,
Yes.
please.
Yep.
Yeah. And that was when I decided to jump all in. But I was coaching along the way. For 5 years, I was doing coaching on the side while I was still working.
Right. Right.
And then I decided that, that was, the stars aligned for me. Yeah, I was able to walk away with a nice package, and I was ready to go anyway. And so I haven't looked back. I've never looked back.
And you took all the steps to follow that dream. Like you had all the background. So it was a good point in your life to take the leap.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I already started, so I knew I could do this. And it was just something that I can't get enough of it. I just love doing it. As you can tell, I can talk about this stuff all day long.
Yeah. And now you're what year was that where you took the leap?
2018.
18. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And now you speak on stages.
Mm-hmm. I do.
You have a flourishing business, and it's become you're an author.
I am.
You wrote about your story.
Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Yep.
So you have a lot going on. And I want to talk about one of your annual detox program that you have coming up in January, because I feel like after this story, this is your why. This is why you do this program. Tell us about this annual program that you have coming up.
So, every year in January, so many people make their resolutions, and they're going to get healthy,
Yep.
Dreams are supposed to come true. And so I'm here to help them do that. And every year in January, I do a program. A detox kind of puts people off, so I don't call it a detox program, but it really is a breakup with sugar kind of a program. It's this year it's called Craving Freedom. It's the 4-week, I'm going to get the title wrong because I can't remember. It's a long one. It's a 4-week program to overcome sugar addiction, essentially.
Okay.
Because if you can do that, if you can get rid of that desire for sugar, your whole life changes. It absolutely changes. So that's what I do. So in January, it used to be 5 weeks. Now I'm down to 4 weeks. I think, 4 weeks is enough time for people to at least step into it.
To start.
Yeah, exactly. And then they can continue to work with me. I have a follow-on program after that. If they feel like they want to continue on. But this is, it's usually very, not usually, it's very successful for people who are really committed to doing it. They really get it's a good stepping off point for them.
Yeah. And I feel it's great to go through things with other people, right? As a group, you feel like you're supported along the way.
Absolutely.
It's a tough one.
Yeah.
A lot of people do not go through with their resolutions. So jumping in on a program with other people is a good one. And I never thought about it till you said it, that when you were talking about your own story and we're washing it all down with wine, that alcohol is a big part of sugar.
Absolutely.
So when people drink alcohol all the time, they're just adding sugar to their body all the time. It's not just the alcohol, it's the sugar.
Yeah. And depending on how sweet the wine is, the sugar content could be that much more.
Yeah. And other spirits too. Everything's made with sugar.
Absolutely.
Right.
Well, because it's for the fermentation process. Requires sugar. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So. Yeah. It's and then there's a whole other level of awful about alcohol, especially with women. It affects women much differently than men because of our fat to muscle ratio versus men's. But
Oh,
yeah, a woman
very
alcoholic
interesting.
has a much shorter lifespan than a male alcoholic. Female versus
Like,
male.
yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, and
So yeah,
there's,
my mother was an alcoholic. That's what killed her.
oh
Yeah,
goodness,
at 41
goodness.
years old.
Yeah, yeah. And I think there's a lot of women that can tap into your story that, come home and wash everything down with wine every night.
Wash
It's
away your
become
day, right?
this thing with women that, oh, we need our wine, we need our wine, we need our wine. And
Well,
just
the marketing does that too, right?
the
It
marketing
speaks
does,
to
but
the
I think
young
our
mothers.
friendships do too. Come over
Yeah,
for wine. Let's have some wine. We'll just have some wine.
yeah,
Oh, I got some wine in the fridge. And it becomes a habit of you're sitting home or you're cooking dinner and everyone's pouring wine, and it becomes a part of your everyday. And I think that's what the problem. I don't think there's, if you can handle it and you can have a drink whenever you want to drink, that's fine. But if you're having it every single day, it's sugar and it's alcohol. So
yes.
the sugar is, I'm not a sugar person, but I did it with like Halloween candy when Halloween candy was in, like and I have a blood sugar problem. So like when I have sugar, my whole body explodes. Like, it's just like I get headaches, I get very sick. And wouldn't you know, candy shows up in my mouth and I'm like, I know I'm going to be sick and it's right there. So I had to like wrap it all up and get it out of the house. I was like, because I will have it. And I'm not a sugar person. I would never even go buy candy. And 9 out of 10 times, I can't even have sugar in my system.
Because, well, that's good feedback for you to pay attention to.
Oh, I know. And I've known this since my 20s. So it's not...
Every so often we need to be reminded though, right?
Every Halloween I am reminded because I'm like, oh, candy. Everyone loves candy. Let me have some. Yeah. So good. So good. Karen, anything else that's coming up for you or you want people to know about you or your programs?
Well, so the program that I'm having in January, people can have they can sign up for it by going to, I believe you're going to share the link in the show notes.
Yep, everything will be in our show notes.
Okay, so there will be a link in the show notes to sign up for the sugar detox program. It's $197 for 4 weeks, and you get it's what, it's inexpensive. You said, yeah. But it's I think it's a good way for people to start the year.
Yeah,
and I really want to encourage people to really kind of clean things up because by the end of the holidays, they're probably done with the cookies and this is where they want to start. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So 197, they could sign up at the link that you're going to provide to them, and it's it's very interactive. So the way I run my programs is I keep them small. So it's usually it's limited to 10 people.
Okay.
If I need to open up another session, I will, but I don't like a big group of people because I want everybody to be able to share. And that's what we do. It's very interactive. And it really is tailored to the group that I'm talking to. So if certain things come up within a group, it may be different than another group.
Yeah.
So it's really about making sure that everybody's engaged and understanding and getting supported the way they need to be supported.
I love that. Karen, if what is, just in case someone's driving, because a lot of people listen to this on audio and they don't have the show notes right away. So what is a website or something that they can look you up on? What's the best way to find you?
So my website is www.yourpoweryourhealth.com.
Yourpoweryourhealth.com.
Yeah. Your Power Your Health. That's the name of my business, is Your Power Your Health, nutrition and health coaching.
Yep. And I will say again, her name is Karen Sammer, and she is a national board certified health and wellness coach. And you have a pretty amazing annual, I know you're not saying sugar detox, get the sugar out of your life program.
Exactly. Yes.
Reframe it. Reframe your sugar.
Yes.
I
Say
love
goodbye
that.
to sugar. Yes. Break up with sugar.
Break up with sugar.
Time to end that toxic relationship. Yep.
I love that. I love that. Karen, thank you so much for being a part of our program today.
Thank you so much, Camille, for letting me
I just love what you do. And Yeah. So guys, if you need to break up your relationship with sugar or just overall have a better relationship with your own health and wellness, please give Karen a call. I highly recommend Karen. I've known her personally for a couple years now, and I think she does amazing work in the world. So thank you, Karen.
Can I add one more
Yeah.
thing I just thought of? Okay. So if somebody is not ready to break up with sugar yet, but would like to have a free consultation, they are absolutely welcome to do that. So go to my website and book a call with me.
Yeah. Fabulous. I encourage all of our listeners to do that. Well, thank you, Karen, for being a part of our show today.
Thanks so much, Camille.
All right, everyone. And thank you for being our listeners. To learn more about the Soul Professional Movement, go to soulprofessional.com. If you are trying to create, or maybe you have created, a business that is in alignment with who you are, come learn more about the Soul Professional Movement and how we can help you collaborate and bring your gifts to the world. Hope to see you all soon at soulprofessional.com. Thanks, everyone, for being a part of our show today.